Hey everybody, welcome to the Dano channel. I am Dano, and you know what? I'm back from Disneyland. I just made a trip this past weekend for Life Day Observed, and I've got new Savi's lightsabers. I've got the new Protection and Defense lightsaber. Check it. I've got two whole lightsabers right here just set up and ready to go. And then I've got a whole build plate right here. Look, a whole build plate with a whole nother set of all the pieces. 4 lightsabers total. Can you believe it? 4 Savi's lightsaber. I built 3. I had a friend of mine help me build one of them, and so she stood in. I paid for it, and she built the other one. So I did 3 separate sessions at Savi's, and I wanted to share that with you guys. I want to show you guys my Savi's build session of building these. So I'll be doing cuts of 2 of them because it had the same person, the same gatherers there. So I'll be doing 2 separate cuts of that and showing you in this video. And then afterwards, I want to review each piece, show you each piece one by one, and then kind of give you a comparison to the old Protection and Defense, because I have those as well, and I know I'm one of the few people out there who has full sets, so not everybody can do it, but thanks to your support, I'm able to go to Savi's and do this kind of stuff, and I'm even going to be giving one of these lightsabers away. Now, the way I do that and the way I say because of your support, so I started doing some banner. I started making some banners. There's my Protection Defense banner. I've got one for Peace and Justice. I did one for Power and Control. And then there's also an Elemental Nature. And so I pre-sold these. This is some of them that I've made. But I did pre-orders for them. And I said, hey, if anyone who pre-orders these, especially on Saturday, I said, if I can get 10 more pre-orders, then I can afford to do a giveaway. And so thanks to your support, I hit those 10. I'm going to be giving away a lightsaber to someone who pre-ordered one of those banners. I haven't made them all yet. I still have to work on it. That's why it's a pre-order. Because I have to figure out how many we need total. And then basically I'm going to put everyone's name. Whoever ordered one banner is 1 entry. So if you ordered all 4, that's 4 entries. Boom. Pretty slick, right? And so the odds are pretty good for you if you want to end up getting one of those. Or if you got one of those and you want to end up winning, you've got great odds of winning the lightsaber. But because of that and because you guys support my craft and buy the stuff that I make and watch these videos, sit through ads, that kind of stuff, I'm able to go and do this. So thank you all very much for your support and just watching the vids and just clicking the thumbs up and subscribing. All that stuff helps so much. That said, let's get in to these brand new Savi's lightsaber pieces. So far, they're the only theme that's been refreshed. The other themes have not dropped yet. I don't know when it's going to happen. Any day now, the rest could drop. But as of right now, today, when you go to Savi's and you ask for Protection and Defense, they give you a new pin. It's a new, same look, slightly different style, though. It's a little, we'll look at it a little more in depth in a clip in a minute. But it's slightly different. Old one, new one. Old one, new one. So some changes. Chassis seems mostly the same. But as of right now, if you want to get the old pieces, these older ones, you can buy them as scrap metal separately for whatever's available. They may not have them all. I'm not going to tell you they've got them all there and you show up and get mad. No. I don't know what they have available as far as stock, but you should be able to buy those old pieces as separate scrap metal. Got it? All right. Let's get on with the video. Okay, so as of today, the 13th, these are the pieces they've got that are new. None of the other ones are available yet that are new. But they're all kind of glued in there. They don't come up, but you can take a look at each piece. That's what I'm going to be building today. But which pieces am I going to choose? That's the real question. So if we look at the other ones, just so you guys can see, normal Protection, or sorry, Peace and Justice, normal Elemental Nature, normal Power and Control, but the new stuff is the Protection and Defense. All right, guys, take a look. New Protection and Defense pin. We're all sitting out. As I was checking in, the cast member there, Vic, he hit me with a little "May the Force have with you" and "Goodbye forever." Went old school with it. So the guild thanked him with a Batu Bounty Hunter pin. I'm stoked to go back to Savi's. I haven't been since my Star Cruiser trip in Florida. So I haven't been back and build anything on West since 2019. 3 years since I've been in this building. So it'll be good to go back. Well, guys, it looks like we're going to be the last ones in to give our credentials and venture into Savi's. Thank you. Welcome. Right this way. Very end, all right. Let's go to the very end. Awesome. Yeah, it's not beeping anymore. Oh,
Okay. Welcome, travelers. Welcome, builders. Sorry that I rushed you in like that. However, the first order arriving not too long ago, we've had to step up security. But now that you're here, feel free to take a look around. I know. Looks like scrap and junk, but I assure you it's not. But where are my manners? I have over here, Ashley, and I have over here, Samantha, and I am Daniel, and we humbly call ourselves the Gatherers. However, outside of these walls, we're just scrappers. Just scrappers. Please remember that. Especially if you get interviewed by the First Order. And as I previously mentioned, much of this may look like scrap and junk, but I assure you it is not. We, the Gatherers, have traveled throughout the galaxy to far-off planets, such as Kashyyyk and Ilum, in order to gather materials from abandoned outposts and ancient relics from both Jedi and Sith temples alike, in order to preserve our past and the knowledge of the Force, to pass it along to individuals such as yourselves. For as you all may know, our galaxy has become unbalanced. It's entered into troubling times. But during these times in the past, legends arose. You're all familiar with the legend of Luke Skywalker, yes?
Yes.
Good. That's a long story. I don't have time for it. But a new legend is arising, and she goes simply by the name of Rey. And just like Luke and like Rey who answered the call, you all have answered a call, and it has brought you here to build this, the lightsaber. It is elegant, beautiful, powerful, and each one is as unique as its builder. To build one is an ancient and almost lost art form, a callback to a much more civilized age. It has been held by some of our greatest of heroes, and some of their darkest enemies. But this piece of art, it will help forge your bond with the living force. But in order to begin that bond, you begin with the Kyber crystal. The Kyber crystal is the heart of every single lightsaber. It acts as a conduit for the force, magnifying and intensifying it into a blade, and therefore it also dictates the color of your blade. Throughout the galaxy, there may be many different colors, but from our journeys, we've managed to acquire 4 for you to choose from. And it wasn't an easy task. Let us begin with this one, blue. Once wielded by Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, his young apprentice, Anakin Skywalker, and now our new spark of hope, Rey. Green. Once wielded by Ahsoka Tano, Qui-Gon Jinn, Master Yoda himself, and the legendary Luke Skywalker. Violet. It's rare and beautiful, just like the one once wielded by Master Mace Windu. Finally becomes red. Some call this the Kyber crystal of power. Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Asajj Ventress, and now Kylo Ren. But we are not here for them. We're here to begin your story. In order to do that, my fellow gatherers are bringing around the Kyber crystal canisters. You must choose your own.
That's
Perhaps
green.
the right one that calls to you. And I say 11. You're going to place it onto these green plates in front of you. It'll keep them safe. They are not quite stable yet, but they soon will be. What color will your blade be? Choose wisely. You don't quite have Yoda's stature, but size matters not, as he once said. Perhaps you'll be just as wise as Master Obi-Wan. Very nice. All right. Let's move on to your hilt. Your hilt. It's your center, your foundation. It's your control and your balance. It's how you have chosen to wield the Force. And perhaps most importantly, it does prevent your hands and your fingers from being disintegrated, which I do. The choices that you made earlier, they've been placed in front of you. And what you choose to build with today will be a reflection of you, the builder. Let's explore them. The long slot is your chassis. In sections 1 and 2, you have 4 grips. In section 3 are your emitters. Section 4 are your pommels. And finally, in section 5, you have matching pairs of activation plates. Or you might say on your planet, your on and off switch. All right. Are we ready to build?
Yes.
All right. Let's build. Let's begin with the chassis. have that emitter side, that is the open side, facing up toward the sky. You're going to notice a middle chamber. At that middle chamber is a spring-loaded plate at the top of it. You can press up into it. You're going to take your Kyber crystal. Take one pointed end and press it up gently into that spring-loaded plate, guiding it into the chamber. It should stand straight, tall, point to point. It will begin to glow. It'll hum 2, 3. If you need assistance, let us know. We are here to help out. This is probably the hardest part of the build. If you don't see it glowing, again, let us know. Very good. And I have everyone hold up those crystals for me. I'd like to see all those glowing crystals. Very good. Very good. All right, everyone. What we're going to do now is skip ahead. Skip ahead to section 5. Go to section 5. You're going to choose a matching pair of activation plates. On the inside, you'll notice either a blue rectangle or a red square. And that matches with the outside of that middle chamber. Just simply match them together like puzzle pieces. Blue rectangle to blue rectangle. Red square to red square. Directly over. Once you've done that, you should be able to hear a misfire by pressing up on that switch. And then we all need to hear that misfire. Make sure that everything is still working properly.
Oh.
One more time, let me hear those misfires.
Nope, not getting a misfire. Nope, no misfire. Let's try the other one. That one's not working. See if maybe this one will work.
Right. Next, we're going to go back now. Go back to 1 and 2. Choose 2. Choose your
That's
2
better.
favorite grips. One is for the top and
Okay.
one is for the bottom. What's super important about these grips, if you look up here for a moment, you'll notice that the edges, one edge is much thicker than the other edge. That thicker edge must go toward the center, whether you place it on the top or the bottom. Go ahead, make your choices, and once you do that, you're going to press toward that center and twist in order to attach those grips. They will no longer spin or fall off once they are fully attached.
Got it. How about for a bottom?
If you have both of them on, it's like wringing out a wet cloth. All right. Next, column 3. Go to column 3. Choose your emitter. It goes on the open end of your hilt. Just drop it down, twist to the right. So all you have to do is twist to the right. Just fit nice and snug right on top. And your final step will be to flip your hilt upside down. You'll see your exposed power cells on the bottom. Go to section 4. Section 4. It's using one of your pommels. It goes down evenly on top of those power cells. And then again, twist to the right. If you feel resistance while you're doing this, stop and try again. You do not want to feel resistance while you're putting on your pommel. You go down just as easily as the emitter. If you feel that you are done and you have a finished hilt, place them onto the holders that are in front of you. Come by or do a final inspection of your hilt.
Notice that D-ring's a little bit different. This one's rounded, this one's not. There it is, Protection and Defense. So next time I'll have to build this one. The gold.
Are we ready?
We are ready.
All right.
Ready for inspection. See if my one-handed build did okay.
Looks very good so far. Wonderful. All right, this is your activation switch. When it comes time, you'll activate and then deactivate, but I'll let you know when.
Perfect.
Sounds good?
Sounds good.
Very good. You can go ahead and get these out of your way.
Thank you. Oh, the suns are very bright. They are very, very bright. Let's jump over here to the side. So, guys, there it is. My second build. Now, I've got some repeat pieces, but I'm here with Courtney. You can find her on Instagram, awesome cosplayer. If you went to Mosh, you might recognize her as the Gonk Droid. But help me build the other one. So we have a full set right here. Between the two sabers, that is a full set of the new Protection and Defense. And there you go. Awesome.
Okay, guys, so I've turned my kitchen countertop area into my Savi's build workshop. I got my custom 3D printed tray that I designed and made myself. I've got my new Protection Defense Lightsabers. I've got my old Protection Defense Lightsabers over here. There's the old ones. There's the new ones. First things first, let's look at these pins. Let's look at the difference on these pins. The one on the left here is the new one. Very flat. Ooh, very, very flat. What does the back say on it? Anything useful? Anything cool? Nothing too crazy. Let's get a zoom in here. Here we go. Anything amazing? It doesn't even say Protection Defense on it, does it? Not at all. The old one does say Protection and Defense in Arabesh on the back. The new one, which is done in like a pewter kind of silver, does not have that in Arabesh. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. They're all official pins. This one's done in, I think this is considered a hard enamel, if I'm correct on that, where it's all flat. I believe that's hard enamel, and soft enamel is usually when they have dimension to them. I might have that backwards. But this seems to be more of like a gold metal kind of color with a little bit of white paint in the center is the old one. And the new one is all paint instead of the metal with dimension on it. Okay, now, oh look, and of course my dogs want to start playing right now. But let's take a look at the, let's look at the switches first. Okay, so this is the new switch. Of course, it comes apart into two pieces. It is the same function as before. Got a little red on the inside, got a little blue on the inside. And you match them up in opposite directions, and they should attach together. And that is the same way you attach them to your chassis. Now, this is a newer chassis. One thing I noticed when I was attaching them and building them is it seemed to be a little bit harder to press them on. It was a little more difficult. It was like more stiff, more tight. So I don't know if it's a slightly larger chassis or these pieces are slightly smaller and made for a different size chassis that could be coming in the future. I don't know for sure, but I wanted you to see close-ups. And so what's funny is that it matches, right? This kind of, sorry for the camera lens changing there, but oh, what are we doing? It seems to be that it matches the color scheme of the new pin. And these colors are the same color. Look at that. It's the same colors as the previous. There's a perfect example right there. Those are the same colors. The big difference I'm noticing in these pieces is that these aren't hammered. These don't have that hammered and weathered look like the old ones do. In fact, none of them do. Let's look at the other set of switches here. And this one is the, it's got more of a High Republic kind of vibe to it. I guess I had that upside down. It'd be more like this. There's your switch. It's got a little bit of that hammered texture to it, just a little bit. Tiny little bit. And again, just to compare the colors, that brown up here from the older one is definitely present again along with the gold, so same color scheme really. However, I'm not seeing any black in any of these, whereas we did get black on this piece, and previously we just got the silver. And look how textured and beaten down and hammered they look, while the new pieces are not nearly as much. They have a little bit, but it's much lighter. It's a much lighter feel. In fact, this piece right here has the most. Out of all of them, I feel this switch has the most hammered texture to it. Next up, let's take a look at the Pommels, the little end caps. Notice this D-ring is unique. That is a new kind of D-ring. It is a flat bottom, but it's not completely flat. It's got a little bit of an angle there. That's kind of interesting. I like that. It's different. It's very different. And the D-ring's different. It's got some holes there for the sound. Of course, you can take a look at the threads on the inside, which we'll talk about when we get to the sleeve, something I noticed on the threads. Okay, so there's that one. Now this one does use a bigger, this is typically a same kind of D-ring,
Similar kind of D-rings we've seen on other ones. A little bit larger, actually. And it doesn't fully bend down either way. It bends more this way than it does this way, and I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it just needs to be worn in a little bit. But this is our switch. I like this. Symmetrical on both sides. Same thing on both sides. So it's got a really cool, interesting look to it. I like what I'm seeing. I like the little design on the inside. It's just a cool look. They're both actually really, really good end caps. All right, now let's take a look at the emitters. This one is the more plain one, but I like that angle. And it's square. If you look at it, it's square, or diamond, or however you want to look at it. But I like they've got the notch taken out here. We got a nice notch taken out on the back. Indentation, more of that kind of slightly hammered look on the outside. And again, we have more of that bronze coloring. Now this one is the really, really cool one. I would be a little bit scared of dropping this because, I mean, look, my finger goes there. That is open. It's attached solidly down here. But if you drop that, I would be worried about bending these in. It is sturdy, it is metal. Make no mistake, it is metal. But I just want to kind of show you guys the color so you can see what I'm saying. They're the same color. They are the same paint colors that they've used, so they've matched the themes great. If I had to pick one, I would pick this one. It's just so much cooler looking. This one's cool too. I like it, but it's a little more plain. It's a little more plain, but very High Republic vibe. All right, next up, let's take a look at this sleeve. Speaking of High Republic, look at that. Now, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, I believe this says Force and then Wielder, W-I-E-L-D-E-R. I believe that's Force Wielder in Ancient Jedi text, not Arabesh. That is not Arabesh, that's Ancient Jedi text. And I believe it says Force Wielder on both sides. Force Wielder. Similar to what it says on some of Doc Ondar's, the lightsaber case says Force Wielder on it. And we just have some really intricate designs here on the outside. Again, we see that bronze coming through, we see that gold on there, and then the portion that goes towards the switch, it always has the darker band. As you can see here on all four of these, this darker band is the part that always goes towards the switch. That's where the threads are. And speaking of the threads, take a look at that. What is that? What is this that I'm seeing right here? Look at that. I'm gonna zoom in on that. Look at that square. Oh, my lens changed. Look at the that square shape right there. What is that about? It's only on one side. It's only on one side, but it's part of the thread. It's part of the thread, and you know what? They've all got it. Let's go to this one. Let's zoom in here. Does this one have it? Yep, it's got it right there. This is another piece. I like this piece a lot too. It's got some, I believe there's some Jedi patches that have this design on it, if I remember correctly. And it's got this cool kind of cross, almost like, looks like medieval times kind of Knights Templar vibes. I'm getting like major Knights Templar vibes out of this. And look at that. It looks almost like chunky and messy, this little design that's in here. It's pretty intricate for what it is. This is the most like intricate detail I've seen on any Savi's lightsaber piece so far. And to contrast that, I'm going to go to one of the more plain ones I've ever seen, is this one. I feel like this would look best going up top. It kind of matches the vibe going up top more than it does being on the bottom. Bottom's fine, but I feel like this is more of a top sleeve. You can do it however you want, but it's more plain, and really that's all there is to it. Again, we have that same, look at that thing, that same little stopper there. And what that does, it helps keep them aligned. I'll show you, in fact, these are all, notice how aligned they are. How well aligned, like that line matches up with that line, matches up with the switch, with this line, and that. Because of the stoppers on the sleeves, it actually helps keep them that way. So again, we've got more Ancient Jedi text. Same thing, Force Wielder, bronze and gold coming through. There's our stopper at the top. So I think all the new themes are gonna have that on them next to the threads or inside the threads. And yeah, there's a look at all of our different pieces. One thing I didn't really, did I look? Oh, there are some holes here. There are some holes at the top of this little pommel, so the sound can come through. Though I imagine sound comes through this one better because there are more of them. But I did want to show you just kind of close up, just to look how different and hammered those pieces are. Now I have an extra one right here I can show you. The threads are not on this. There's no, oh actually, you know what? This older one does have a stopper. I've never noticed that before. Did they all have stoppers like that?
Okay, so I've got my pieces here, and speaking of that little notch, I noticed something when I look at the old one. And I say, oh, look, it's got the little notch in it here. You guys can see the notch right here in my close-ups. There's the notch. But I pulled up my other one because I have a duplicate of this piece. I'm going to show you. They're the same piece. This one here does not have a notch. I'm assuming this is my original one that I bought when I built my saber. This is one of the first sabers I built in 2019. I'm assuming this piece right here was when I bought it as scrap metal some 2 years later. Last year around this time, November during Life Day, there was a trip I was on to Disneyland, similarly as Life Day observed the Sunday before Life Day, and they were selling scrap metal, and I bought an extra one of these and an extra one of the elemental. See, look, I've got two of the same. I bought an extra one of those. I wonder if maybe that one has the notch. Maybe not. Let me take that apart and find out. Because I was looking at the other ones, and my older ones have no notch. I can't find a notch on any of the other pieces, and these are all the old ones. These are all version 1. Again, I wanted to compare version 1. There's another version 1 piece, and there's no notch on the inside, no notch. Yet we look at all of these new ones, notch, 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 notch. Every single one of those has that. This is the only version 1 piece I have that has it, and it's got to be the newer one. So let me take this thing apart real quick and see if maybe one of those has a notch. Okay, let's do it. I don't have much room to do this, but hopefully I find it on the first try. Is there a notch on this one? There's not. There's not a notch on the top one. So I'm gonna put it back. I don't need to show you because there's no notch. But let me take the bottom off. If there is a notch, I will show you. And you know how I can tell which is which? This is my older one. It's got more weathering on it. Like, it's more worn out. I think. Maybe I could be. You know what? I gotta be wrong about that. I have to be wrong about what I just said. It's lighter on certain parts, but maybe I bought it that way. Either way, guys, this one has a notch. Did they change the pieces on us? Did they update and change the pieces on? I always thought this was my older one because it's a little bit more worn down on certain parts. But maybe that's not the case. Maybe this is the newer one. And it has a notch. Because that would make sense. Because these are the two only pieces I ever bought duplicates of. Was this style and this style. Those are the only two I've ever bought duplicates of. And coincidentally, and it was years after I built my first ones. All my other ones were from 2019. I was done collecting them all by August of 2019. These I bought in 2021. Let me know. Look at your Savi's lightsabers. Tell me, do they have that little notch or not? Because all the new pieces from version 2, Protection and Defense, not and the fence, and defense, they have it. They've got that on there. And that's really, really interesting to me. I thought that was a new feature. I had not noticed that. Here's a power and control. This one does not. This one does not. How about a different power and control? Does this one? No, this one does not have a stopper anywhere. Let's take a look at an elemental nature. No such thing. No such thing. So interesting that this one does. I didn't realize that this one does have it. And this is one of the original version 1 pieces. And coincidentally has ancient Jedi, like symbols that match the ancient Jedi text on one of the books seen in Last Jedi. Yeah, I never noticed that had a stopper on it. Now, just to show you guys the emitters, and kind of give you a little bit of a comparison here. Again, we have way more texture on the old ones than we do on the new ones, but I kind of like it. I kind of dig that that's the vibe they went for. Again, there's the two new emitters on the left, and then the old one right here on the right of the screen. Again, you can see our sleeves next to each other. You can see all of our sleeves here and all of our switches compared to the new pieces. And then we've got full builds as well, just so you can see them here all lined up. There's that, and then I have the opposite build on the other side of the tray here ready to go. So you can see the whole thing as it's built. And what I've got over here, because crafted cores is one of my preferred methods of Kyber crystals, they make this really cool pack to match each theme. And they've got a protection and defense, which is both purple and yellow, and I happen to have one right here. So that's gonna be the color I put in. I don't know if I'm gonna do purple or yellow first, but I'll definitely be putting that in there as my preferred crystal for this theme. Okay, now one thing I know is gonna come up, and I know you guys are gonna ask, are the first version pieces compatible with the second version? So I'm going to answer that for you real quick. I have 4 lightsabers set up. I've got 4 of them here. I've got every single one of these has a switch from either old or new, okay? Protection, defense, old or new. So we're going to start off with one of the new ones. This is a new switch, right? You're with me? New switch. So then I'm going to put an old piece on. Does it connect? Sure does. Connects just fine. Let's do another old piece. Does it connect? Sure does. Does just fine. Now, I'm sure some people are going to want to ask, well, will the new emitter work with the emitter and the pommel? They screw into the chassis. They don't screw into the pieces. The only part that ever screws into a piece is where the sleeves attach to the switch. The switch has threads on the the switch has threads on the outside that the sleeves screw into. So that's why I'm only doing that. The pommel and the emitter, they don't screw into any part of the pieces. So yes, they're going to work no matter what. Got it? Okay, so now that we've done that, let's do an old one. This is a version 1, which means I'm going to take the new pieces. There's a new piece, and I'm going to screw that on. Does it? Yeah, it works. I'm going to take another new piece, screw that on. Does it work? Yes, it does. It works just fine. It's tight. It feels good. But you know what? Just for the heck of it, I know you guys want to see what they look like, so let's do a little mix and match here. Ooh, I like that. Oh, look at where we're going so far. Okay, I dig that. Let's go with this one for the bottom. All right, we got okay. I see you. I see what you're doing here. And I can kind of align them. Oh, okay. Look, check that out. We got old emitter. I was like, is it lined up? It's kind of lined up. It's not really lined up. It's weird. It's sort of lined up. But there you go. There's a mix and match. And you know what? While we're at it, let's take let's do the other switch here. So we got the new switch, old pieces, and then let's do one of the new emitters, because why the heck not? And then a new pommel, and see how the heck that goes. Okay, there you go. There's kind of a mishmash, old and new. I like what I'm seeing. Let me know what you think down in the comments. You like that? Okay, that's kind of cool. All right, let's do 2 more then real quick. So there we go. We've got another new switch right here. So I'm going to take... Oh, I was like, I know I got one over here somewhere. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take my Ancient Jedi text. Does that... Oh, okay. So the... This is the one... Okay, let's try both. This is the one with the little stopper on it. So it does stop at a certain point. That little stopper does stop. And it does line up perfectly. It lines up very well. And I can feel it hit. You hear that? Clunk. It hits. Okay, so let's take the other one then. And let's see where that goes. And that goes further, and that does not line up. Look at that. It's not lined up at all. Okay, so those little stoppers help a lot. So I'm going to use the one that does stop. That's so interesting. There again, right on cue. It lines up just fine. See how it goes like vertical, and then it matches with the switch? Really interesting that it does that. So we've got old. Let's go old. Well... What did I do last time? No, I want to go new. What did I do last time? How did I do this? Old switch got a new pommel. So new switch gets an old pommel. That's how we're doing it. That's how we're doing it. Right? Does that make sense? Kind of. Did I mess this up? I think I might have messed this up. I'm gonna do new switch, new pommel. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it this way. I want it to be completely like mishmash all the way. And then we're going to, on the bottom, we're going to take this one that does not have... Oh, yeah, this feels great. I like... Oh, did I mess it up? Did I mess it up a little bit? Maybe... No, it's lined up. It's lined up differently now. Oh, maybe I went too far. I don't want to over-thread it. But, okay, I like where we're going with this. And then I'm going to take I'm going to use the new... pommel. Did I already use? I already used both new pommels, so let's just use a different older one. Okay, I like where this is going. I can dig this. This is a cool mishmash. It's mostly older pieces with the new switch and a new pommel, but it's kind of cool to show you that it does work. It looks good. And let's do one more with what's left over. Let's go. I like this one on top. Of course I do. Oh, okay. This one doesn't line up well. Notice it does not line up very well at all. Can I get it to maybe line up if I start somewhere else? Now, okay, so that's not lining up super hot. How about the bottom one? How about the bottom piece? How are you going to act? No, not lining up super hot either. Okay. They line up well with each other, but not with the switch. Interesting. Interesting to see how that works out. And then let's take our bottom. And yeah, none of it. So the only part that's out of line here really is the switch. Look at that. The top kind of lines up with the part of the sleeve here. You can see it on this side more. It lines up. Something over here with this. There's a line in the center that it seems to really be lining up with this top piece, which also lines up with the bottom piece. This is lined up with that fairly well, which also lines up with the very bottom in the emitter. So it's kind of, and just to see it from the other side, full view, only the switch is off center. Everything else seems pretty well lined up. Just the switch is off center. So I don't know if that's my switch or what. There's no thing in there. But guys, you have it. There it is. 4 different. I would love to show you them without dropping. There's 3 different ones, but these things are so dang heavy. These things are so dang heavy. That's really ornate and very, very fancy. But yeah, we did it. There are mix and match Series 1 and Series 2 Protection and Defense. And there you go. Okay, now that we've taken a look at all of that stuff, let's let me check and make sure I've got crystals in these things. Of course, I know I put my good. This one, of course, has the crafted cores crystal right in the center. You know it does. You know I gotta show love to craft it. It's got the Protection and Defense crystal in there. Again, that link for the 10% off is down below. And you twist it and they line up. It lines up. I love that. Now here's the real test. If I use one of my modified blades, will it fit? My modified blades with the hot glue? Oh, they fit. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. I like the way it shines through. That looks cool. That looks really cool. Look at that. Like, I like that look a lot. Okay. Okay, that's pretty cool. I'm pretty pleased with the way that worked. Let's take this one out. I'm going to use my other saber. I don't know that I have a crystal in here, but I've got more crafted cores, so I might as well use that one, right? I'm going to get out the Protection Defense. I'm going to put yellow in this saber. So let's twist this open. Take my little sleeve. They're not sleeve, but the switch off. I'm going to take this. It's as easy as putting this in. Glowing yellow, as it should. That on the back. Put this on the front. And tighten it back up. Good, we're locked in. It lines up. It all lines up. I love it. I'm going to use the other blade and see how this one fits. It also has the hot glue. Plenty of room in there. It fit just fine. You ready for this? Yellow. Okay. I do want you to see how that works. Okay, I like that. I like that look. I think yellow actually works pretty well on this one. You want to focus on my face? And then focus on the lightsaber. There we go. Kind of. It wants to focus on the droid more than anything. But there you go. Lightsaber. Boom. I think it looks really good. Yeah, I like this. I like these sets. I feel like these pieces go together well. They're a little bit more plain on the plain side, and they kind of fit together. Whereas this one is like if you want to go full-on ornate and craziness, there you go. You got 2 different looks at the lightsabers, the new Protection and Defense. Guys, if you found this video at all helpful, informative, anything, do me a favor, subscribe, share this video with the friends, and leave a thumbs up before you go. Till next time, don't be a moof milker. Be the spark.